We're going to review a little bit today. We're going to start off and just review for some people that weren't here, and if you were here and would like a little bit of review. We started off with the progression of consciousness, understanding that the organism, us, the animal, is going to be mainly relatively fixed lifestyle based on instinct and learned pre-programmed behaviors. That's your gut animal instinct. Then shifting into lower consciousness human, this is ego-directed, sub-object, emotion-backed security, sensation, power, consciousness, increasingly involving that rational mind that we think is the way to flow on the world. That makes us inflexibly guard and protect habitual folkways and personal patterns. Now, remember we discussed that folkways were the ways of living, thinking, acting in a human group, built up without a conscious design, but serving as a compelling guide for our conduct. These are things that we do. I'm going to be talking next week in Living Love with Children, but as a simple example of behaviors that we instill in each other are things that happen so early in life when we make the girls' room only pink, or make the boys' room only blue, or only the boy can play with the truck and she has to, that's a folk way. We're programming them already, and we'll talk more about those kind of things, but it's just for example of folk ways. Now as we go into the higher consciousness, we have that ego-driven negative emotion has been replaced by wide-ranging insight, deep intuitive understanding, giving full flexibility to flow in mutually supportive and loving ways with no inflexible folk ways and personal patterns. These are the progressions of consciousness that we discussed. Now if I can have the next page, please. We found that the law of higher, I didn't see it switch, and I was like, where is it? Oh, it's right in front of me. We found that the law of love, living the law of higher consciousness, love everyone, including yourself, and all the opportunities you have to live love and raise your consciousness. Remember, 7.5 billion people on the planet. 7.5 billion opportunities to live love with each other, whether I meet them or not. So many different opportunities I have from the moment I wake up to live love. And this is a big part of this. It's the living love philosophy. As we discuss more of the 12 pathways in the rest of this book, remember the whole premise, the whole concept is the living love philosophy. May I have the next page, please? The law of higher consciousness suggests a practical guide for an Aquarian age. You add suffering to the world just as much when you take offense as when you give offense. This is the rippling factor here. This is the story of the guy getting flustered with his boss at work, going home, being mean to his wife, the wife yelling at the kid kicking the cat. And this is just a silly example of how we add suffering to the world when we take offense. This is one of my biggest lessons in life, especially in some of the things I walked through last year, because I'm always going to drop the dime on myself, and that raw nerve we sometimes become in life. Well, if I notice I'm being a raw nerve, it's time to stop. Halt. Our mentor taught us halt. H-A-L-T. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Stop. Halt. Time to take care of the self. This way I'm going to be reacting to you in a different place. So I won't maybe get offended if I ate that day. If I was feeling good and had enough sleep. If I was exercising and had all the things in my body feeling good, and then you came off in an offensive way because you were still plugged into something, I had the key and the power in that moment to live love and to breathe into that moment. Next page, please. We learned that in the living love system, an addiction is any desire that makes you unhappy or upset if not satisfied. It is a programming or operating instruction to your biocomputer, which is what Ken Keyes calls it, that triggers uncomfortable emotional responses and excites your lower consciousness if the world does not fit the program pattern in your mind. This one is really important because there's so many times that we get plugged into it didn't go my way. It didn't go my way. It didn't go my way. If I can change these addictions into preferences, and this is part of what the pathways are designed to do, to recognize my addictions, and it's really easy to recognize the ones that are chemical, a cigarette, coffee, sugar, things like that are very easily, for all of us to well, look at that guy, he's addicted to cigarettes, I see him smoke every day. But what is he really addicted to? What underlies those addictions that if he or she shifted them to preferences, they'd be able to empower themselves and release the chemical addictions. This is all part of the dance in this. This is all part of the things that I, along with all these other people that we're going to discover this year, have been saying, none of this information is new. There may be new ways of teaching it, new ways of talking about it, new ways of receiving it, but all the information has been with us since the dawn of time. And through this particular book, and Ken Keyes and Penny Keyes, they fashioned it in a way to help us realize our higher consciousness and help realize where these addictions that we get stuck into keep us from our own enlightenment. So, next page, because I got ahead of myself. This is an overview of the 12 pathways. These are the pathways that he calls to higher consciousness planes of unconditional love and oneness. Remember, again, this is about the living law philosophy. So we discussed, and if may I have the next page, please? We discussed freeing myself. I'm going to read these, go through these quickly because we have more to discuss today. Number one, this is the first pathway. I am freeing myself from security, sensation, and power addictions that make me try to forcefully control situations in my life and thus destroy my serenity and keep me from loving myself and others. I'm going to power through these next two. I'm discovering how my consciousness dominating addictions create my illusory version of the changing world of people and situations around me. Number three, I welcome the opportunity, even if painful, that my minute-to-minute experience offers me to become aware of the addictions I must reprogram to be liberated from my robot-like emotional patterns. We sang Addicted to Love last week on purpose because one of the things in this aspect, he said, if you're gonna be addicted along the way, at least be addicted to the things that serve you. Exercising. I used to be addicted to sit-ups. If I didn't get to do my sit-ups that day, I got upset. But it was because I was really addicted to all those wonderful things that it offered me. But I still had a lesson to learn if life brought a moment where I didn't get to work out that day. I had to still maintain that happiness within myself. Freeing myself, these three pathways are to help and assist you to realize that I am freeing myself of the sensation and power addictions that keep me driven. I know that I'm making this all up in my head every single time I walk around and somebody doesn't do something I want. I'm the one who created it. I made it up. I made everything up. And then I'm welcoming these opportunities to show me where I'm making it up, even if it hurts. Even if it hurts. We just breathe into it and remember that we'll be okay. Every pain I've ever had in my life, I got over. Even the worst one. Even the one that dropped me to my knees, I obviously got up again, so I guess the pain goes away. Sometimes we'll feel the pain and we hold on to it so much because we're afraid it won't go away that we let it linger. This is what the freeing ourselves is about. Next page, please. Then we discovered being here now. That I always remember that I have everything I need to enjoy my here and now, unless I'm letting my consciousness be dominated by demands and expectations based on the dead past and imagined future. I take full responsibility here and now for everything that I experience, for it is my own programming that creates my actions and also influences the reactions of other people. I accept myself completely here and now. I consciously experience everything I feel, think, say, and do, including my emotion-backed addictions, as a necessary part of my growth into higher consciousness. This is a key element. This is about being willing to accept a thing is what it is, and what is. As I always remember that I have everything to enjoy my here and now. If you journeyed with us in the meditation, I took you through a meditation of the 7 centers of consciousness. I just kind of made up the meditation according to what these centers of consciousness held. And when I can be here now, it's more available for me to see that I do have everything I need in the moment. Always. Every single time. And when, in the moment, I found that there was a true need, that's when action had its cause. That's when action has its purpose. That's when I must walk forward to pick the food to nourish my body. Sitting there, being here now, and realizing and owning that I have hunger, but I also have everything around me to support me, helps me be in the present, and it helps me raise my consciousness. When I take full responsibility for everything going on in the here and now, I again can raise my consciousness because I'm not playing the blame game. I said this last year in a talk, if you point out there, you get despair, but if you point within, you'll always grin. That's kind of what this is about now too. It's about being here now in whatever is going on. I accept myself completely with everything I think, feel, say, including my emotion-backed addictions. This is owning it, folks. This is walking your talk with yourself. Walking our talk with each other comes next. But this part I have to be able to own in me before I can interact with you. I have to be able to be willing to compassionately look at my own emotion-backed addictions, look at them lovingly, release them lovingly, and be present within the person, the spirit, the God, Goddess, all that is, that I am, that you are. We must always do this. We must always be present enough in our body to enter this moment, be in this moment, and create the future from that moment. This is what this being here now is about. Now let's continue with the next pathways. This is interacting with others. This is a place of discovery of every actor in your play and what they're showing you about your script and your writer. This is the place for us to start observing ourselves in each other. The very first pathway, I open myself genuinely to all people by being willing to fully communicate my deepest feelings, since hiding in any degree keeps me stuck in my illusion of separateness from other people. So, this one I know to a fault, because I'm constantly dropping the dime on myself. This is why. And I have big lips. But God put me in a body that was going to be a Leo and have big lips to tell my story, because that's what I signed up for. I signed up to be one of those people that was willing to drop the dime on every single thing going inside of me. Again, I have private moments. I just went to the bathroom and I shut the door. But secrets keep me in prison. I wasn't in prison in there and they had to get back out. But if I had a secret going on in that bathroom, I would have been in there a lot longer and probably had a lot more stress going on in my life about somebody finding out what I was doing in the bathroom. So remember, private moments and secrets are always, always different. You're allowed to have a private moment in your life. I don't have to tell you every single thing about me, but I have to share my truth. I have to be willing to express these deepest feelings within me, especially when I know they're keeping us separate, because I may be stuck in some ego elusive pattern or ego illusory pattern that made me think you were out to get me. Well, if I speak of these things, I'm going to flatten it, and I'm going to take that illusion of separateness, I'm going to bridge the gap. This is what this part means. The next pathway, I feel with loving compassion the problems of others without getting caught up emotionally in their predicaments that are offering them messages they need for their growth. Codependent folks. And know that it is born with love, and I honor every single one of us codependent people. And now, as we raise our consciousness, what these pathways will allude to is letting us know that we are keeping each other in prison when we become codependent with each other. If I collar you and take care of you, I'm keeping you in prison. This is about living love unconditionally. This is about compassion. It's like I will always use my life as an example. I walked through a lot of different things last year, and I was approached in many, many different ways. Some with compassion, some with empathy, and some with sympathy. Do you think that the sympathy serves me or any person that is ill? Just yes or no. Just breathe into that. Because it was born from compassion. And it was born from that part of us that wants to understand each other and wants to help and save each other. But when we do it from a place of sympathy, we actually shackle each other. This is about, how do you know what I needed to know? It's like, I just herniated again, have to have another surgery, but it stood for ruptured relationships. That's what hernia stands for. So it gave me an opportunity to look back and see the ruptured relationships of my past and give me opportunities to heal them. Thank you, Spirit, for another opportunity for me to see a place to grow, for another place for me to raise my own consciousness, enlighten myself, awaken just a little bit more. No judgment, no harm, no foul. Just let them be. Offer compassion. If they stick their hand out for you to help them get up, then help them get up. But if they're not seeking your help and you keep putting your hand in their face, you might get offended when they wave you away. Breathe into this one and allow the people to have their journey. Allow it to be the part of their awakening. Allow it to be part of your awakening. Recognize those patterns in you that you're wanting to rescue out there. I act freely when I am tuned in, centered, and loving. But if possible, I avoid acting when I am emotionally upset and depriving myself of the wisdom that flows from love and expanded consciousness. Emotions are real. We all feel. We all get plugged in. We all get discombobulated. We all get one of our addiction-backed programs from this life tapped into at any given moment, at any given time. We have to just breathe into those moments. And if there's an action to do, that's the time to just halt for a moment. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Well, angry, fit another one in there. Anxiety, anxiousness. There's a lot of A words I could fit in there that are emotional words that are going to take me out of my center and prevent me from being in tune with that loving wisdom that comes when I'm centered. So if I want to engage with you because we have to discuss something, and you just triggered me, and now, instead of being present and centered with you, I'm now just in my triggers, in my emotional back addictions. What mark do you want? I want the centered guy to talk to you. I want the guy that's going to come from his loving to talk to you. Sometimes people say, well, you just go up there and just tell him what's for. It's like it's an inside job. I created it. Sometimes people have seen me in my life not say something for a while when I needed to have a conversation with someone, because I realized most of the conversation was in here. By the time I get through all the egocentric crap going on in me, the conversation's like a sentence long, and it's like, wow, it's barely there. Their part of it was like so minuscule when I realized this. This is the ability for myself to just stop and not feel that urgent agenda to tell them everything right now, even though all there is now. When I step into that now, I will recenter, and then I can tell them. And all those nows could be nanoseconds away. It didn't say go away for a day. It didn't give you a timeline. It didn't say I act freely when I'm tuning, but if possible I avoid acting until 1 week from tomorrow. It said I avoid acting when I know I'm emotionally plugged in. This is the biggest part of interacting with each other. These three pathways are here to help, again, raise our consciousness to higher planes and to higher understandings of living love and being one with each other. This is the one that we fall into the most. This is like the parable of the sower. This is the thorns. Because we do love each other, believe we're all one. But your ego is not doing what I wanted to do. So I'm going to control you. We'll get into that in a little bit. This is the part of us that has to just breathe and really practice unconditional love. And really be able to look into each other's eyes and accept each other as awakening beings, which we'll get into in a minute too. This is the one that will show us our ego so quickly, because you're all my ego and I'm your ego, and we're all aspects of each other's egos and different aspects of each other's expression of self, an expression of our truth and our innocence. But when we get caught up in all these emotion-backed addictions, the part of us that we wanted to express gets stuck back here, and then we express all this drama dance. And you can even look at all the drama out there and judge it. Oh, look at them, their life is so dramatic. Nothing ever works for them. Look at them, they're a victim again. Or you can just breathe into this and realize and see these people as aspects of yourselves. And realize that as I interact with you, I'm really interacting with me. And you're just showing up to let me know what's going on inside. You're just showing up to let me know who is saying what to me. This is a very important part for us. Addictions with people can be sneaky. One of the biggest addictions I probably have ever had has been addicted to being liked. I never wanted to offend anybody. I never wanted to make them think I was other than the nice guy. But at the same time, with just this understanding and some of the pathways we've already looked at, they're bound to get plugged into a security center at one time or another in their life. I am bound to plug them in at one time or another in their life, even if I just show up in a good mood. Have you ever been in just a great mood and somebody was in a crappy mood and they wanted to just stay in their addiction that day, so they got mad at you and got offended by your smile? Well, I guess if I backed off of myself to take care of their feelings, I wouldn't be free then, would I? So sometimes those kind of addictions, even though they may appear to be freed. They may appear to bring me happiness. In actuality, take me from my essence and take me away from myself. In actuality, take me away from interacting with you cleaner and more centered and more holy. Because I'm not there. I'm in an addiction. I'm more worried about you liking me than I am worried about loving me and just expressing my truth. I know my intention. If I'm unintending to hurt you and you get offended, that is your drill. I'm not here to judge you either. I can lovingly understand and realize that you just got something pointed out to you that's going to help you in raising your own consciousness. May I have the next page, please? Discovering my conscious awareness. The next 3 pathways talk about this. This is a place to view the movie of your life like an observer. This is a place to get your popcorn, sit down and watch. The first pathway, I'm continually calming the restless scanning of my rational mind in order to perceive the finer energies that enable me to unitively merge with everything around me. He made that word up because everything spell checks and corrects it. That unitively. That's called poetic license. And because it kept tongue-tying me when I first, unitively? You know, what the heck is he saying? But as you see the energy of the word and what he was doing there, meditation is one of the keys for helping calm this scanning of my rational mind. We are in this 3D world, and we're in a world that is producing evidence to us. And our lovely, wonderful biocomputers, and later on in this book, and I'm not even going to get into that, that's why I invite you to read this book. It gets very heady with your reticular activating system and the hypothalamus and all these different things. And I've told you that the philosophy, the myth of this left-right brain stuff has already been popped. Do the research, because it's a folk way. When people get stuck in this, well, I'm left-brained, I'm creative, I'm right-brained, I'm logical. Stop lying to yourselves. There's aspects that scientists and notions that they came up with to discover the human psychology, but that created a folk way, and it has limited so many people that were really great at logic from creating. Or people who are really great at creating from being recognized for their brilliance in their mind, in their math, in their ability to find a solution to a situation. These are all part of folk ways that prevent us from attaining our own higher consciousness. When I can look at my life as a movie and stop that scanning and start just observing, I can breathe deeper, breathe calmer, and I am more centered in myself. It gives me that ability to unitively merge with everything around me, because I'm not rationally, constantly ascertaining what it is and what value it holds. We're always trying to put a value on something. Half of that value comes from pure judgment. The other half comes from folk ways that made no sense at all. They were just there. Remember, some of the folks always got started because people were trying to control other people. They wanted power. We're going to talk about those in a second. The 11th pathway. I am constantly aware of which of the 7 centers of consciousness I am using, and I feel my energy, perceptiveness, love, and inner peace growing as I open all the centers of consciousness. Now, we haven't covered the centers of consciousness yet. We're going to in a moment, but as you're reading the book, you would see the information. And what this is saying is that as I'm watching my movie, and this is a non-judgmental movie, just eat my popcorn watching it. I'm not even really reacting emotionally either way. I don't see my movie and look at the drama of my life and go, oh, but I don't crack up laughing either. I may have a little smile, a serene chuckle here and there, to just simply see the human walking through his life and watch all the foibles that have happened, and to see the times I have suffered and the times I've risen above my suffering. This is simply a witness place. This is a place to simply watch what you do. And as I do this, I feel my energy, perceptiveness, love, inner peace growing as I open all of these centers of consciousness. All of it, you know what? As we do new thought, and I say do the work, Scott says do the work, Marty says do the work, we talk about workshops. It's a weekend. The work is every single day of your life. Don't you ever kid yourself into thinking it's about workshops. It is about doing the work. But, oh, this is so tiring. It just takes so much out of me. You want to communicate everything? It's just going to wear me out. As we do these things, what this is saying is, as I feel my energy, that was one of the lines, I feel my energy growing. And just take the sentence out, I feel my energy growing. So what I'm saying is that as we do this, as we raise our consciousness, as we continue to release our mind from all the addictive programming that has been sucking the life force out of us, I raise my energy. It's there for us. That's what, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, about the cornucopia center of consciousness. Number 12, I am perceiving everyone, including myself, as an awakening being who is here to claim his or her birthright to the higher consciousness planes of unconditional love and oneness. That's a deep breath. When I can perceive you and me as awakening beings, and awakening to a birthright, I've always said this, we are heir to. I write it in my poems here and there in different words and poem and prose and this and that. It's about, this is our birthright, this is innate in us, we are heir to. This is a God-given right. All those little cliches we hear, birthright. This is something that I don't have to earn. I don't have to do anything to be worthy. I just have to allow. And these principles will help us. Now, as we're all awakening beings, if I get up at 7 a.m. and you get up at 10 a.m., am I better? Sometimes, there's a book that I might do a talk on actually called Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism. And it pops the bubble and drops the dime and all that ridiculousness that we go through about all the spiritual. I like Ram Dass's little joke where people go, I'm getting in line. And he goes, good, see you later. It's like, because we can take ourselves so seriously sometimes in our own awakening. It's like, okay, I got up at 7 a.m. I did have 3 hours more experience while you were sleeping. Maybe I got to see an eagle flying in the backyard. Or like yesterday, just sitting there. Sometimes people think vultures are nasty, ugly birds. You see them yesterday on a windy day, see how much they play in the sky and have fun. They're majestic, they fly high as eagle. There's a story about vulture. They're actually one of the most beautiful, majestic birds in this world. But they're allowing themselves to be who they are, they know who they are, and as they awaken, they're not judging themselves better than eagle. They did that once and they paid the price. And that's a story we'll tell another time. But it's being aware that just because I got up at 7 a.m. doesn't mean I get to walk around with the hubris of being better in the world. Of thinking that, well, I should take a higher space in this world, and actually my sacred space should be 5 feet more than everybody else's because I'm holy now. I've been up since 7. Amen, sister. She knows. But it's all about the Julie.
The 2-year-old.
Yeah, homotopios, and sometimes Spirit just sends in a script change. You're getting up now. And sometimes that's how we get our awakenings. I'm sure Scott wouldn't mind me sharing this part, but he got a similar one long, long time ago from a person you never dreamt, just woke up out of a dead sleep hearing, God! As loud as can be. Probably even louder than I just said it. It popped him right out of his body. Popped him out of his bed, out of his body, out of his soul, and out of his mind. And got him back into his heart. It's like we are not here to judge when each other wakes up. If you want to play and you notice everybody else is sleeping, you can gently nudge them and go, hey, you want to wake up and play? And give them information. If you try to force feed them coffee, they're going to spit it up on you, throw the cup against the wall, pull the blankets over you, and probably curse at you. That's the time to, again, make sure the thermostat is set nicely, put the blankets over their shoulders, and go seek out people that are already awake. Why do we sometimes, there's a whole room of sleeping people and we're so flustered that they're sleeping, but there's somebody out there at the lake already, sitting there enjoying the sunrise, just seeing the ripples of little bugs touching the water and watching a beautiful thing as the way the pond is reflecting upon the sky and enjoying that moment. So sometimes all I did is get to experience a few more things that you got to experience by waking up 3 hours earlier. But what if you stayed up later? We're all going to have our time. We're all going to have our moment to awaken. We have to just breathe into these things and allow ourselves to perceive everyone, including myself, as that awakening being. As that person who's just, maybe doing this. You're going to throw coffee in their face? They're waking up. They're rubbing their eyes. Get a little eye gook out. Get that freshness on their face. Let them go out and see the sunrise. Let them feel the warmth of the sun on their face. How do you throw sunshine in someone's face? And not be the Florida orange juice lady from way back when, I forget her name. Anita. Thank you. We're all old. Thank you. So this is a really important one, to be able to sit there and witness all of my life, witness all of each other's lives as characters in a play. Eat your popcorn, gluten-free, healthy. Enjoy it, it's life. Breathe into these moments with each other and recognize each other as these awakening beings while you just simply watch it as a movie. When you can get into this part of your center of consciousness, which we're going into the consciousness centers next, you can understand that you've had the power within you all the time. And when I look from the movie perspective, and I just simply look as a witness, really a witness to my life. A witness, when a witness is being questioned, they always say, I don't care how you feel. I want to know what you saw. They want to know what you felt about the accident, what you felt about that guy, what you felt about the criminal or the accoster, or whatever you witnessed. They just want to know what you saw. This is all this is about. What did you see? There's other levels within you that are going to be able to breathe into what you're seeing and learn and awaken from that and realize, wow, look at me caught up in that addictive pattern there on Saturday with that guy. I was all trying to control him. I tell you, traffic is a good barometer. I had somebody on doing it to me today, but I've already shifted. So I'm like, what are you doing, brother? He's like trying to come up beside me and pass me. I'm like, where are you going to go? So I just ease back. Like, go ahead. Go. Be free. It's like, remember Armin and Angelina were here a couple weeks ago. They said, how do we know he's not on the way to an emergency and his wife's about to deliver, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, if we're going to make it up, we might as well make up fun stuff along the way. I forgot that in my life when I got real flustered in traffic and realized I had dropped down to my control center. I knew I was going to do that. I set that up a long time ago. When I put it behind me, I'm like, I'm going to run into that. Breathing into these moments of understanding, this is the best way to be able to shift your consciousness in a nanosecond and then watch the traffic open up right before you. The next page is the seven centers of consciousness. That's okay. That's okay. I did the overview on purpose. You can read them off of that. The printing is a little bit better. Look how they just happen to align with the chakras. Now, you can't really see here, so I'm going to point it out to you. Let me adjust. Actually, I think Becky's got all of it. Can I have one back?
Nope. No paper for you.
This just in. So we're going to go, I'm going to briefly go over all 7 of them, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning. We're going to work the centers. There's the security center, the center that makes you preoccupied with food, shelter, or whatever you equate with your personal security. This programming forces your consciousness to be dominated by a continuous battle to get enough from the world in order to feel. This is the root chakra. This is your connection to the earth. This is your primal instinct to survive. See, he didn't talk about the chakras in his book. But how can you not see? Or how can I not see that they just completely correlate? Because each chakra as we go up these centers, you're going to realize are these centers. The next center is the sensation center, concerned with finding happiness and providing yourself with more and better pleasurable sensations activities. For many people, sex is the most appealing of all sensations. Other addictive sensations may include the sound of music, taste, or food. This is the second chakra, the sacral chakra, or sacral. This is your sexuality. This is your pleasure center. This is out of balance. I'm going to be a sex addict. I'm going to be a music junkie because I can listen to music and appreciate music, but if I have to have music, I'm addicted to music. I'm addicted to sensations. If you're in our meditation today, I tried to bring as much life I could to the strawberries and the texture and the feeling within us. It's all about sensation, and that's what this center holds, and that's what this chakra holds. The next center will be the power center. This is when your consciousness is focused on the center. You're concerned with dominating people and situations and increasing your prestige, wealth, pride, in addition to thousands of more subtle forms of hierarchy, manipulation, and control. This is your solar plexus. Power. Willpower. So when out of balance in this chakra, I'm going to seek power. When in balance, I will just use my will. See how they're lining up? We're going to discuss these more later. The love center is the center you are transcending subject-object relationships. You're learning to see the world with feelings and harmonies of flowing acceptance. You see yourself in everyone and everyone in yourself. You feel compassion for the suffering of those caught in the dramas of security, sensation, and power. You're beginning to love and accept everyone unconditionally, including yourself. The fourth center in the fourth chakra is the heart chakra. Love, acceptance, seeing everyone as themselves. If I am in balance with this chakra, I will be loving you unconditionally. If I'm out of balance with this chakra, I will love you if you do what I want. If you show up just like I'd like you to show up. That's what this center is about. The cornucopia center. When your consciousness is illuminated by this center, you experience the friendliness of the world you are creating. You begin to realize that you've always lived in a peaceful world. To the degree that you have addictions, you still have addictions, but the perfection lies in giving you the experience you need to get free of your emotional back demands. As you reprogram your addictions, the perfection will be experienced as a continual enjoyment of the here and now in your life. As you become more loving and accepting, the world becomes a horn of plenty that gives you more than you need to be happy. This is the throat chakra, which is where we are creative from, which is where we speak of what life brings us. Have you ever complained with your nose? Have you ever celebrated with an ear? This is the place that we talk of life and what it brings us. If I'm out of balance in this chakra, I'm going to be constantly telling you of how life is unfriendly to me and how life didn't bring me what it needed to bring and how there's just not enough. But if I am in balance, I'm going to be speaking love, I'm going to be living love, I'm going to be speaking of the wonder around us all the time and of the joy that is here for us all the time. The sixth center is the conscious awareness center. This is that pathway we just talked about. It's liberating to have a center from which your conscious awareness watches your body and mind perform on the lower five centers. This is a meta center for which you non-judgmentally witness the drama of your body and mind. From this center of centers, we learn to impartially observe your social roles, life games, and from a place that is free from fear and vulnerability. This is the place that you see the roles that you play. And this is the place of seeing. This is your third eye. This is indigo. This is where, in balance with this chakra, you'll be able to just simply witness your life and the lives of others from the roles that they are simply acting out, from which programs they have running in them, emotionally and in their biocomputer. When I can see clearly here, it's going to help me react in all of these other centers because I'm going to know exactly who in me and in you I'm dealing with when we talk. The seventh center is called the Cosmic Consciousness Center. When you live fully in the sixth center of consciousness, you're ready to transcend self. Awareness has become pure awareness. But at this ultimate level, you are one with everything. You are love, you are peace, you are beauty, you are wisdom, you are clarity. This is your crown chakra. Now some have the color of this chakra as violet, some have it as white. Doesn't really matter. It's what works for you. But this is your God connectedness. This is your connectedness to all that is. This is where you just, light just beams into this little, as David Roth called it last night, spacesuit. And to just energize you and realize that you are everything. I'm not even just part of everything. I am the fraction. When I say I'm a fraction of the whole, I am the whole, I'm the fraction all at the same time. There's no separation at all whatsoever between me, you, and the air in between us. That's why in our meditation today I invited you to look at the empty space between the stars, the darkness, the void, the magic of the nothing. The nothing is the everything all at the same time. This is where this comes into. Now, we're going to go all the way back. If I may have the next slide, or picture. The three centers of unhappiness. These first three centers, now we're going to start going in these centers a little bit more, because I ran through them real quickly, just to get them in your head. That was called data input. These centers are the major causes of our unhappiness. When we survive, well, that's a key word right there actually, survive. It's like we want to live. So as we are stuck in these three centers, we find that we are in survival mode more than we are in living love mode. This first center, the security center, this center makes me preoccupied with food, shelter, or whatever you equate with your personal security. This programming forces your consciousness to be dominated by your continuous battle to not get enough in the world in order to feel secure. The emotions that come with this: fear, worry, anxiety. The yo-yo type of enjoyment in life is constant driving compulsiveness, constant fear of loss. Rational mind always triggers an unlimited chain of future possibilities to worry about. And that's where this center gets us. We get stuck in our unhappiness because we're constantly just seeking out security, and when we don't get it, we find ourselves unhappy. The base chakra, I am alive, I need sustenance. Again, our primal connection to the earth. The sensation center, finding happiness in life by providing yourself with more and better pleasurable sensations and activities. For many people, again, sex is the most appealing of all these sensations and activities. Other activities, addictive sensations may include the sound of music, taste, or food. The emotions that happen here: disappointment, frustration, boredom. The effect is that constant driving compulsiveness, constant fear of loss, and when repetitively experience an enjoyable sensation, we become satiated with it and then bored. I had enough strawberries, what's next? I had enough sex, what's next? I had enough chocolate, what's next? When I'm operating from a sensation place in my center, there's never enough. That last one, and again, this is our sacral chakra, the genitals, or sexuality. The power center. When your consciousness is focused on this center, you are concerned with dominating people, situations, and increasing your prestige, wealth, and pride, in addition to the thousands of subtle forms of hierarchy, manipulation, and control. Anger, resentment, irritation, hostility, hate. These are the emotions that come from this power center when it's not fulfilled for you. The constant driving compulsiveness, constant fear of loss, our power threats stimulate counterattacks from other people, and we're constantly caught up in defending and trying to control. Again, this is the solar plexus. A good way, and I'm not picking on anybody, because I know there's some of you that I've had conversations with that use the word should, and I'm talking to every single one of us. You have to understand, or you don't, that when you say you should to people, you're telling them how they need to show up, and it's not your business. You're controlling their world. It is not your business. You have to breathe and realize what in me is being triggered that I feel I have to control the situation, not only in me, but in them. It's like, breathe into this, because this one is going to prevent you from raising your own consciousness. It's back to trusting, to loving, to being in that heart chakra, loving unconditionally, and sharing. You're allowed to share. If it's unsolicited advice, then keep it to yourself. If you have a suggestion, say, may I offer a suggestion? And the person may say no. That part's going to be that part that you're going to have to, is going to shove you right back into one of these three centers. It's really important to breathe into this and own it without beating yourself up. You got to go back to the witness place and go, oh, wow, I've been in my security center a lot. Our solar plexus, again, is out of empowerment. If I'm out of empowerment, I'm going to tell you what you should do instead of what you could do. Or just do it myself and be an example of loving. Now we have 2 joy centers, but I'm also looking at the time, and it's 12:15. And I really want to, and that's good. That means time is flying, and that's a wonderful thing. But I really want to spend the respect of these next words, and I'm unwilling to zip right through it. So a thing is what it is. We're always in the now. We're going to be looking in the next week. I'm going to be finishing the rest of the consciousness centers. But we're also going to be looking at some methods of loving yourself and living love with children. We're also going to be looking at an aspect that he didn't cover in this book that I'm bringing into it, and that's called living love with animals as well. Because there's so much of a giveaway that our domesticated animals do for us, much less the wild critters that are being hunted just for stuff like ivory and stuff, which is a whole different talk. But what we do with our kitties and our puppies, our little brothers and sisters that come here to just serve us, is such a gift to us to let us know when we're in the power center. It's one of the biggest ones to let us know when we're in our power center. So next week we're going to continue with this talk. I'm going to rewrite it a little bit so I can accommodate the time. And as we're going through these journeys, especially the interacting with each other, we sometimes may think that it's a burden. I don't want to carry you. I don't want to do this while you're doing this. I don't want to deal with you while you're awakening. It's like we're all on this road together. And sometimes the road seems long and it has a lot of different turns and things about it. But when we do this, when we carry each other, just for a moment sometimes, even if it's just the next stop, we realize there's no weight in that. It's not heavy at all. It's not a burden, because there may be the next step where someone's going to carry me. So as we go into this next week, Becky's going to be putting up the additional pathways, because I've really been digging that and watching the conversation a little bit. I invite you to continue to go over those 12 pathways. Now incorporate the 7 centers of consciousness and get them in your mind. Back to you guys' song, heal your mind, mend your soul, take a deep breath and let everything go. This is about the healing of the mind. Most of us here have wonderful hearts that love. It's our mind that gets in the way. It's that illusory stuff that I'm making up about what she said or thought or did, or what if she turned this way and I thought, she just turned her shoulder to me and she was just turning. We know that we have the mind to make up that much ridiculous stuff, because I've had more conversations with you people in here. So as we breathe into this next week, discover more of these pathways. I invite you to keep reading this, get this all into your body, and remember that in this journey, that sometimes we're going to carry each other. Thank you.
while we're on our way to there. Why not share? And the Lord doesn't weigh me down at all.